Okay, so here's my part 7.1.2, I think. Because it's not really the part 8 because I was supposed to talk about something totally else, but since something just happened the other day and the situation is ongoing, it's like an emergency add-in, I guess. So I was last talking about this whole library situation, which I probably shouldn't have even mentioned, to be honest, but my point with that is that when this lady, which is a different lady from the library situation people, when this lady had asked me to help her as if she was like really trying to beg and guilt trip me into doing it. I mean, I was gonna say no anyway because of a lot of red flags, but after that whole weird library situation and the explosion thing and the lady trying to force me to help her there, it was definitely gonna be a no. But anyway, this same person who pulled that same risky trick had told me about different things out here, how people slip stuff in your drink, different things that I already know about not just what happens here but even in other places. She told me about not getting into any hard substances and how real smart people learn from others' mistakes. And it reminded me of this thing that this Let Me Help You Lunatic lady told me, because of course, like just because people are toxic doesn't mean that like everything they say is gonna be wrong or bad. I mean, some people it really is, but not with everybody. So this Let Me Help You Lunatic lady a few years ago had told me about how she could tell I was smart because I learned from other people's mistakes and I don't even fall into some of the things that other people do because of that. And more so than learning from other people's mistakes, I feel like a big thing is that I know the spiritual repercussions of a lot of it, which of course goes along with the physical. And that's like one of the biggest reasons I don't do a lot of stuff. Other than the fact that some of the things that people fall into is just stuff that doesn't appeal to me and never would. But yeah, so there's that. So moving on from that. So here, I'm going over the whole definition of pedo, which I know you can't really say on here. I learned that from the whole LT Corbis situation, but I'm not going to go into that. I don't even know if I can say her name on here, to be honest, without getting banned. But Chomo definition, I'll say. And then the hidden legalities, which I've talked about in a couple of videos, how just like there's hidden menu items, there's hidden legalities. So I can't really think of anywhere where like SA or grooming people is actually illegal. I can't think of any place where it is, to be honest. I can't think of anywhere where abusing youth is illegal either, regardless of what people want to say. In fact, I had this European boy, and like actually European, like he was actually from Europe, from Honduras specifically. He had told me that the only reason that I thought pedoism, as I'm just gonna say, was wrong was because I'm American. And he was like, I've actually traveled places and been places where it's normal for people to start having relationships with older people as soon as they're able to have kids. And honestly, you think that I think this way because I'm American? The same stuff happens everywhere. So that was really funny because, it's not really illegal here like it's not anywhere else. And that's really funny for a dude where the first day he met me, he told me about the essay he went through in his family. But people just, they don't learn. I was going to say that they don't learn from their mistakes, but then I thought about it and I'm like, wait a minute. That'd be really guilt trippy, but he obviously didn't something. I don't know, but he didn't something. Okay, I was supposed to go over the pedo definition part first, and I didn't. So, when it comes to the definition, we all know that it's changed over the years, and now it's called, what do they call it? Minor attracted persons and some other stuff, if I can even say that. But, we all know or may know that technically the real definition will be being attracted to people that haven't started puberty yet. So really being attracted to people who are like younger than 8. And I don't even know. Guys kind of confuse me. It seems like they don't start puberty till like, I don't know, 17 or something, some of them. That's what it seems like. But, I mean, I probably just really don't know because, well, let me not say all that. But, anywho, liking somebody younger than like 8 is what it would really actually mean. And another thing that I talk about often since the abuse evidence videos is how this issue actually starts in childhood. It doesn't start when you turn 18, which is a legal adult, but there's a lot I can say about that. And it's really just about like holding youth hostage, really, with all these 1821 laws and the whole I don't really want to hire somebody that's younger than 25 bull crap. That's what all that's about. It's not about protecting anybody except companies that don't want to be sued if something happens to someone who's a certain age. So they just throw out the 18 law so that way, like, I don't know, if your kid goes on into some kayaking program and they like drown or something, they want to have less liability, which I've talked about that before too. But yeah, so that's what the real definition would actually mean. But like, I don't go by that. I just really feel like large age gaps are never good. There's always some weird power dynamic stuff. It doesn't really seem to matter how old you are usually. Especially like with how people are raised these days, especially in the Western society. Because it's a lot of codependency and things with like unhealed trauma, not being able to take care of yourself, being vulnerable. So you're just agreeing to anything because, what was that thing I seen in a post? As long as he has a car and different bull crap like that. So yeah, but I talk about all that stuff all the time and it's just not good. It's always some mess with it. And that's why it's very unfortunate that there really isn't, I can't think of any country or any society, any ethnic group that really actually sees an issue with grooming and unequal power dynamics and abuse. So, yeah. What was I supposed to be talking about? Okay, so here's the other thing with the story of the girl that I was talking about the other day, who's actually somebody that I mentioned before, but I usually don't put names to the situation for different reasons. But anywho, so I talked about the whole thing where one point she was like, I don't use drugs, but then she switched up and she was like, I stay away from most drugs. And so there was this whole situation the other day with the dude. And I think even earlier today, like, my brain is like really messed up, so time really blends in together for me. But there was a situation with, what was I gonna say exactly? Well, no, let me skip over that because I'm forgetting stuff anyway. But what I have written down is something I wanted to mention about pedos giving out drugs. So this different girl that I'm gonna call Jay, I met her in the Cash for Kids system, and she told me about different situations that she got into after being turned out from trauma, other trauma like neglect and stuff. And so she got this girlfriend when she was 12 that introduced her to getting on Tinder and like talking to molesters and then going through the horrors. The dudes would give her drugs and stuff, and that's how she first started like smoking weed and doing a whole bunch of other stuff, meth and everything, along with this quote-unquote girlfriend who was also 12. And I remember she would always talk to me about how she felt mad because her quote-unquote ex-girlfriend had got out of that lifestyle, but still talks about how they went through domestic violence together, which is really interesting. And how she's mad because she's still stuck in it. But anywho, so that's something else I noticed. They introduce a lot of not good things to their victim. And I actually made videos about four dudes who this girl and others have had the horrible experiences with. In fact, I even made that video about the one dude, Elihu Sean Kirkpatrick, I'll try not to laugh at his name. Wait a minute. But anywho, Elihu Sean Kirkpatrick that mysteriously died. And his name also makes me think about how dudes whose name is Sean but is spelled like scene are always chomos. Like, the Diddy situation made me think about that too. As if any of that stuff was new. Like, I've been hearing about him for forever. I've never heard any of his songs though. But the thing that I've always said is that obviously anybody who's making R&B music with the stuff that they talk about is going to be a chomo, a zoophile, and whatever else you can think of. They're going to have many paraphilias singing about the type of stuff that they sing about. It's like really obvious. But anywho, so earlier today, I think that was today. No, I keep screwing this up. It was yesterday. Because what happened was, okay, so her quote-unquote boyfriend, hold up. Wait a minute, I'm not explaining this good. Going back to the girl I'm talking about in the current situation, her quote-unquote boyfriend, which it seems like they're almost trying to do like some download type thing, but since I pick up so much stuff, even with just the post that she would make, and it's like it was really obvious that somebody else was taking the pictures and that she obviously wasn't taking the pictures. Even with that, I noticed a lot, but now being here is like, yeah. But I guess they're trying to keep it on the down low. So anywho, she says she doesn't drink and all that, but I noticed that he had these like beer things in the fridge, which I accidentally drank one because I was told it's the community fridge, quote unquote, and I was like, oh, it's coffee latte things, and it said rebel something, mocha, cinnamon cookie, and I was like, this sounds like it tastes good, but I didn't know it was beer. And so I had like drunk a little bit, but then I was like, wait a minute, why is my chest burning? And it was also kind of nasty. And it said hard coffee, but I thought that meant like dark roast, like the one that really tastes like coffee. I forgot what it's called. But yeah, that's what I thought it meant. But then it tasted funny. Then I actually read it and I was like, oh, wait a minute. So then I just poured it out. But a while later, they pulled up. And apparently the fridge is his community fridge, quote unquote. And he had got one of the beers, which he was just drinking one when I seen him earlier. So he's obviously an alcoholic. And of course he does weed. I don't know what else he does. And he got some, and then the girl had a cup, and then he quickly poured a little bit in there, which is very interesting because today I seen him drinking, and I was like, I accidentally drank one of those the other day, which I think I already told him that, to be honest, but I didn't know that they were his. And so I was like, I didn't know it was alcohol. And then the girl was like, oh yeah, I accidentally drank some the other day too, and I didn't know it was alcohol, which was very interesting since I seen him very quickly pour some in her cup. So yeah, there was that. And it reminds me of this whole situation with another girl who's also older than me that I met back on the East Coast when I was in NC. And she was telling me about this dude. She was 19. She was telling me about this dude who wanted to get with her, quote unquote, and how he had walked up to her and gave her an edible and she thought it was just gummies. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're older than me, but you don't know that, like, people that are walking up to you shoving gummies down your throat they're probably not just giving you gummies. It was a very screwed up situation. Her and another lady had a miscarriage, 2 different reasons, but she had a miscarriage behind that because she got high. She didn't even know it was an edible. The dude was trying to get her high to assault her, obviously. And then her baby died, and apparently she was having twins. Wait, no. I don't think no, the other lady who had a miscarriage at the warming shelter, she was having twins. I was getting mixed up. But either way, her baby died because she fell and some other stuff. And of course, the hospital didn't care. They were pretty rude to her because she was homeless. And she was telling me about how it was really hard to deal with as a 19-year-old on her own and all that. And I was like, that's a very, very risky situation. And of course, she was already hypersexual. And she didn't want to sleep at the women's shelter because there were some Jezebelic people there that also would talk junk with the staff about her and just everybody in general, which I've been wanting to make a video about that whole bullcrap situation. But they were talking junk about her, and they were talking about how she's only a 19-year-old girl, but she's always sleeping around and she's pregnant. And they just really need to just